If you work professionally in audio and video at a high level, it is extremely important to keep your senses sharp. Why? Because the world is seeing or hearing something essentially through your eyes or ears if you are producing it, or if you are the final boss of quality control. It is of utmost importance that your sensors, i.e., your senses, are operating at 100% capacity and accuracy. What I mean is, if the engineers, if the audio engineers who worked for the biggest musical artists who are making music, right, Drake or something, if the mix engineer and the mastering engineer has hearing loss, he is at a huge disadvantage. He has to work around that. He has to understand where his hearing loss is because he will not be able to accurately hear the way that the song actually is. I like to see our senses in through a metaphor, which is like, basically, I like to see it as a sensor suite. A sensor suite is something like you have on airplanes, such as the plane I have over here, the F-22, okay? Fighter planes have sensor suites with, it's a suite of sensors. It's multiple sensors in a little area, right? Or distributed. But it has a suite. It has multiple sensors working together to help it understand where it is, how high it is, how fast it's going, the angle of the plane, everything about it. So many things. And then also what's going on around it through cameras. Planes have a lot of cameras on them these days. Dozens. They have cameras that can see in, normal human vision. They have cameras that can see in infrared, aka night vision. They also have cameras that can detect radar. They're essentially cameras that can detect radar. It's detecting a light wave. Basically, a sensor that can detect radar, a sensor that can detect different types of electromagnetic radiation that could come from different places. It has ways to send it back even. The point is, these planes are so good because they have sensor suites that work together that provide them vision, hearing, beyond human vision and sensing. That's what makes them so good. Like, this plane is one of the best because its sensors are the best. That's what I want you to remember. This plane is considered the best fighter. It's in part because it has the best sensors. It also has amazing maneuverability and stuff like that. But in part because it has a radar that can detect people so far away. It has ways of sensing things and doing things that essentially, when you boil it down, its senses are better. It's a huge part. It's not the full picture here, but this is the metaphor and the lesson I'm trying to have you take away here. Vehicles like this are the best because their senses are the best. Apply this to you. Think about your sensor suite. Your sensor suite is your vision, your hearing, your smell, your sense of touch. Especially when it comes to audio and video, it's obviously hearing and sight. So you want to think about how you can preserve this. It's important. So I see myself as the final boss of quality control. And that's a concept that I think that you should instill in yourself. If you are a producer, and if you're looking at content at essentially the last stage of everything, uploading it, and it's essentially your name on it and your neck on the line for the quality, at least that's how you should be thinking. You are the final boss of quality control. And it's a kind of a slang from like video games, where the final boss is like the big dragon at the end that you have to go slay, right? You're like that in the game, but of quality control, meaning like no one gets past you mentality. Okay, you have to have the mentality that nothing will get past you as the final boss of quality control, as the producer. That's how you should be thinking. Nothing gets past you. Now, how will nothing get past you? Let's think about this. First, you have your senses that need to be sharp. Your hearing has to be perfect, and your vision has to be perfect. But then you have the things that you're playing it through. You have to have a really good playback chain, meaning great speakers, great audio interface. Those are the main ones for playback, right? Audio. And then for display, you have to have an accurate monitor, a monitor that's the right size and in the right color space and the right kind of monitor. So what we usually want is an IPS LED monitor that has a DCI-P3 color space when you're editing on the Mac and editing the video that we do. Now the footage is in Rec 709, but I'm saying the monitor can be DCI-P3. That's what you're looking for. And you want an IPS LED monitor because an IPS LED, it's called IPS internal plane switching. It switches the plane back and forth within the photodiode on the pixel, so to speak. And what that does is it gives you equal view, a much wider viewing field. You have like a 179-degree viewing field. And basically, it's much more accurate. The color is accurate across a wider spectrum of movement off axis of the sweet spot of the monitor. So anyway, a lot of nerd speak there, but IPS LED monitor, okay. And then in terms of speakers, the speakers that I use that I love, I truly love these, and I really would recommend them if you can. The Adam A7X. Those now they stopped being made a couple years ago. It's called something new now, and I have the sub 10 with that. Sub 10 or 12? Yeah, sub 10. So the Adam 7X and the sub 10. It's a 2.1 system subwoofer. The monitors are about $750 each, and then the subwoofers are about $2,200 each. $2,200. It's an expensive system, but honestly, $750 for monitors isn't that bad. The next upgrade for me, I would have to have a bigger room to even use it. There's actually no way I can possibly there's nothing to upgrade to my speakers to. I'm actually at the maximum that I could possibly upgrade without upgrading to a custom house, essentially, with a treated room. Like I'm especially with the sub, I'm producing so much power that I'm already turning the sub down, my system down. It's crazy. But maybe I would upgrade to the next Adam speakers potentially. Also, in that chain there, what's very important and oftentimes overlooked is your digital to analog converter. In that chain of of your audio, meaning what are you plugging? Like what would you plug a microphone into, or what would you plug speakers into? You essentially the audio interface is taking digital signals from the computer and converting it to analog, which a speaker can understand. You understand a speaker is not a speaker is dumb. It has no computer in it. It's just a speaker. It just understands move a little bit or move a lot, pretty much. So you have and there's so much that goes into that, the digital analog converter. There's even a clock in these, and like literally like a clock, like your watch, right? And like the clock in better digital to analog converters and interfaces is more accurate, so it produces a more accurate stereo image even sometimes. Not sometimes. Sorry, that is how it works. I'm saying when you sometimes, meaning some devices are better than others, but when you have a better internal clock in the computer, in the audio interface, it gives you a better stereo image. Stereo image is understanding where the violins are in a mix versus the trumpets versus the drums versus the vocalists. Maybe it's in the center. The drums, maybe they're spread out. Things like that. This is what a mastering engineer would do. So you have to be the final boss of quality control in every way. You have to have your senses dialed in, and then your reference equipment has to be top notch. That's what I've been investing in since I was a little kid. I bought speakers and stuff before I would buy food. That was crazy. I would live in B&H Photo and the Apple Store and Best Buy, and just I knew more than the people in the stores. I was so obsessed with speakers. Audio is my real, true first love. So let's talk about how to protect these senses that are so important. Think about your. I like to sometimes think about like when I'm running down the street with my dog or whatever. I think about kind of my head as a little sensor pod. You know, like a sphere with like a bunch of really expensive sensors in it, right? And I want to kind of stabilize it, you know, and I want to protect it. For example, I'm very tall. I'm about 6'4", 6'5", and like even when I'm walking down the street, like I'm legitimately trying to like thinking about protecting my eyes and ears because I hit trees that are hanging over the sidewalk. On every block, there's trees. Almost every block, there's trees that come down that could hit my eye. It only takes one little stick to take out my vision, which is really bad, catastrophic for me. If I got my left eye or something, took my vision taken out, which is my non-dominant eye, even I'd be depressed, man. I'd be depressed because I'm no longer top condition for my for what I like to do, which is I'm like an audio file and a video file, you know, which is like the endless pursuit, the continuous pursuit of quality and fidelity. So how you can protect it, first of all, is literally be cognizant that your eyesight and your hearing primarily are sensitive, valuable. You should covet these. See that you should understand that these start at 100% and only get worse across your life. It will never get better. So the earlier you start to protect your hearing and vision, the better you will be, right? Because what I'm saying is you can blow it not protecting it in your 20s and 30s, and then in your 40s you have barely any hearing. You're not going to be an audio engineer in the same way. Now, I am lucky that I have actually protected my hearing and vision up until this point. I'm 31 years old and I have perfect vision and perfect hearing tested for. That's very rare, actually. And the reason why is because I'm so cognizant of protecting them. Even back when I'm 31 years old now, even when I was 21 or 22 and would go to a concert or something like that, I think I only went to 3 or 4 concerts without like wearing some sort of hearing protection ever in my whole life, and which was in the first year or two. Maybe when I was 18 or 19, 20. But then when I became 21, I started wearing hearing protection, like little in-ear things at concerts. And then once I got introduced to some more people in the nightlife and music industry, shout out to Justin. He knows who he is. He recommended. I saw him wearing these in-ear hearing protection that is barely visible, but it's in the ear, and they're from the same company that makes in-ear monitors for artists. They do that too, but they make these in-ear hearing protection that has a filter. So you know how like normal cheap hearing protection is just like foam or something, and that does a good job at just reducing noise for like using a lawnmower or loud equipment, but it's not good for music because it changes the frequency response of the music through it into your ear. So what I'm saying is it degrades your music experience to use most hearing protection, but these ones don't. They provided a negative 17 dB reduction in loudness, but they use a filter with a membrane which reduces the SPL but still allows some pressure to come through, and basically it still sounds good. Thank you, Justin, for that, because that was game changing. Okay, when I got that, I'm like, oh wow. This is like a superpower. I can be in loud environments and not blow my hearing at all. It's amazing. Actually, that's actually how that was with the minus 17 or 18 dB ones, especially like the minus 21 dB. If you're around like minus 17, minus 18, if you're around minus 18, that's solid. Minus 21, between that, in that range, I think at around 18 or 19 dB, you can be essentially in a concert for about 6 hours per day without losing your hearing, which is phenomenal. Because normally, you got to understand, if you go into a nightclub, you will suffer hearing loss permanently after just a couple minutes, 3-4 minutes in certain clubs, in loud ones. By the way, clubs get louder as the night goes on. So, like, the headliner is louder than the opening acts. Concerts, too. Oftentimes, they turn on more speakers when the main act comes on, even, to make them sound better. Savage, I know. So, you must have perfect hearing, to be the best at this stuff, guys. Just is what it is. Perfect hearing, perfect vision as much as possible. You can correct your vision with glasses. But don't get like cut in your eye by a stick. I know that might not be worrisome to some people, but for me, being really tall, it actually is kind of a worry of mine. Like, it only takes one stick to take me out, one tiny little twig, taking my vision. Be wearing an eye patch. Pirate Chris. So, how you can protect it is those filtered custom in-ear protection. That's the best, man, because then you can use that, enjoy the show. You can get clear ones that no one will even know you're wearing, and then no one even knows, and it's more comfortable. You will take those out at the end of the night, and you will not have tinnitus, the ringing in your ear. You won't have that. Maybe if you were if you're really sensitive to it, you might have a tiny bit, versus where you would have like been totally deaf before. And everyone's had that experience. It's not good for you. It's not pleasant either. And legitimately, like, when you have that tinnitus too, it's like you can't even enjoy the music. Like, you're not even enjoying the nuances of the music anymore because your ears are so blasted. It's kind of unfortunate that that's how concerts work. But that's why I like listening on, these in my house at a reasonable volume level, like 80 instead of 100 or 105, like clubs. I listen on these speakers. One way to protect your hearing is use speakers more. Speakers are way less degrading to your hearing than headphones like this. Especially in-ear headphones. These are over-the-ear headphones. Sony MDR M1. But the any in-ear headphones that are either in your ear without a seal, and especially in your ear with a seal, have the potential to really damage your hearing because they can generate a really, really high SPL, sound pressure level, volume, aka. But it's a pressure, and that pressure is what can damage your inner ear, both the membrane and the membrane of your eardrum, and there's a couple bones behind it that are literally your brain's digital to analog converter. How cool is that? The bones behind your eardrum are like literally an analog, which is sound waves, to digital, which is electrical impulses to your brain converter. It's all the same. Also, in your eyes, get this. I'm about to blow your mind. Okay, I know I just blew your mind right there. About to blow it again right here. That was audio, this video. So, with your eyes, you know how there's aperture in cameras, right? Aperture is the size of the hole that the light goes through. In cameras, as you increase the size of the aperture, you get less depth of field, and you would increase the aperture in darkness, right? So, back in the day, I tested this out on my own, and I basically found out in darkness, your iris, it's literally called the iris in a camera too. Iris is aperture. Iris is the mechanism that creates the aperture. The aperture is the hole. The iris is the thing around it. Okay? The iris in your eye, it's literally called the iris in your eye and the camera. The iris gets bigger naturally as you go into darkness. And if you test this at home, you will find you have a thinner depth of field when it's dark because of your iris opening, aperture widening, more light in, but because of the physics of aperture, when you make the aperture bigger, the depth of field gets thinner. And it's the same in your eye as it is in the camera. Exactly the same. Our sensor, we have rods and cones. The camera has photodiodes. And over each photodiode, which is each dot on the sensor, which equates to each, pixel, I guess, in the end when you edit it, there are little lenses over it, RGB. And that's how a camera works. That's how a sensor works. And that's exactly how our eye works, basically, too. It's almost the same thing. So, use that to your advantage. It's almost the same. Your body and the camera. Just use your brain there. So, use in-ear protection. Only costs like $150 to get like a custom in-ear in-ear earplugs, custom earplugs that like are made to your ear. You can go to an audiologist to get the mold done. Or do it in like New York. There's some places, and LA, some places. You can find a place to do it anywhere. And also, I never use sunglasses as well. I know it's ironic, but so I only use sunglasses when I'm in like a super windy environment where I'm worried about like something hitting my eye. But if something's not hitting my eye, I never use sunglasses for the sun. And this is because I find that your eye actually has muscles in it that control it. Your eye has small muscles that control the iris and its movement. And I never use sunglasses because if I do, I find that it basically weakens my eye. Long story short. So if I wear sunglasses, it protects it from all the stress, and my eye doesn't work and the muscles become weaker. So I don't want to weaken my eye, so I don't use sunglasses. Think what you want, but that's what I do. So how to protect it overall. Remember, the in-ear custom protection, earplugs. Use speakers more, way more. The reason why speakers is so much less damaging is because, think about this, guys. If the earphones are in your ear, it's directing all that pressure right into your ear canal. If the headphones are on your head right here, it's directing pressure into your head, ears mostly, outer ear I'm talking about, and your head a little bit. And a little bit of that diffuses back into the headphone, and it gets diffused around. Speakers are out in the open in your room, and that pressure, although you obviously need like way more power to generate the speaker audio than the headphone audio, but why? Because it's diffusing that power into the room. And what I'm saying is that that diffused power into the room is much, much, much less harsh. It's got a chance to bounce around a lot, and it does not hit you with the same harshness. Does not hit your eardrum with the same SPL in the end, and it doesn't damage it. And honestly, speakers are way better experience anyway. If you have cool speakers, trust me. Get cool speakers. Get a subwoofer if you can deal with the sound and like not get kicked out of your apartment. I'm saying, and the experience with speakers is phenomenal. Be careful using headphones at loud volumes too much. It will damage your hearing. All right, well, that's a pretty solid chunk of information there on your sight and your hearing, I think. By the way, just a quick note on smell. Although it doesn't have to do with video or anything, I have found that since eating cleanly and kind of living toxin-free overall, my sense of smell has went up like crazy. I can smell people hundreds of feet away. I can smell where people have been. If someone comes to my door and they leave, I can smell them after they leave. Because so many people wear like colognes and stuff or perfumes, and I live a life where I don't I don't use anything scented, at all, or dyed, ideally. But like my laundry detergent, no scent. I don't have any type of scent things in my house. Those are completely bad for you. Those oil diffusers things, don't use that. The oil coats your lungs, never comes out. It's like vaping. It's basically the same thing. It's vaping your house, your whole house. And the chemical, anything with a fragrance that's not natural is a chemical. So, but really, just if you avoid fragrances and dyes and colored stuff like that, and you eat cleanly, like you don't like blast your senses with like crazy foods all day long, like you eat clean and drink like water mostly, like I do, your sense of smell will increase dramatically within months, and then over years, which has been for me, like to a crazy extent. I can smell like this. I feel like I can smell just the faintest hint of anything. It's pretty cool. Just being real here. All right, guys. Appreciate you listening to that. Hopefully you got something out of it. Please leave a comment down below if I can answer anything. You have any questions, comments. Appreciate you guys watching, subscribing, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.